Hey everybody, Kathy here, the Maniac. Had a request on a Facebook group that I'm in. One of the girls there said she had used nail forms and dip powder to build extensions for herself, and it intrigued me. I haven't actually tried this myself, but I wondered if it would work, and there were a couple people on there that commented, yeah, I've done it. And a couple of the girls are like, I'm a visual learner, can anybody do a tutorial? So I was like, as soon as I get home, I'll throw one together for you. So I did just get home from work, so I apologize. I've been on an airplane all day. But I am going to show you how to make extensions with a nail form. They look like this. You can buy them at Sally Beauty Supply. You can order them on Amazon. There's all different kinds. If you would like a breakdown of different types of nail forms, if it's something you're interested in, they're mainly used when you're building extensions with acrylic or like a hard gel. So you can check out the Nail Hub, and I will put a card up in the corner for you to her awesome video on nail forms. She's got a great channel, so if you're interested, she does tons of hard gel tutorials and everything, so she's great. But if you do find any of these easy to get, like I said, Amazon or Sally Beauty Supply, any beauty supply store should have them for you. You can go ahead and buy those, and I'm going to show you real quick how you can create an actual extension without tips just using dip powder and these forms. So let's get to it. All right, my friends, so one of the girls in a Sparkling Co group that I am on had a question. Someone posted about building a extension or a tip from the actual dip powder with a nail form to support it. So these nail forms are normally used to create extensions out of like a hard gel or acrylic, and they basically go on your finger. They're sticky on the back side so they can stick to your finger. A couple things you want to do if you're creating an extension, especially from the dip powder, you're not going to really be able to make a very long extension. You're not going to be able to do stilettos, or I wouldn't recommend it. The dip powder does get very hard, but with nothing to really hold it, a lot of people put dip powder over tips like this one, a plastic tip, and this is stronger, so it's gonna actually give a backbone for that tip. But the girl who posted about it had broken off a corner of her tip, just a little piece, and so she was saying that she used the nail form and the dip powder to rebuild that so that it was even and she didn't have to cut back all her nails, which I think is a great idea. She didn't have super long nails, but I'm going to show you how to make a extension with just the dip powder. Again, like I said, you don't want to do anything too long. So I'm just gonna, extend this nail out a little bit, even though I just did my nails yesterday, but that's okay. We can fix that one, no problem. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our base bond, and we're gonna need some clear dip powder. This is what we're gonna kind of build the extension out of, okay? Now when you put on this nail form, a couple things you wanna be careful about. You want to make sure, first of all, that you've smoothed out your natural nail. You want it to be smooth, not jagged edges if you can help it. Make sure that you get the nail form to fit right underneath your natural nail. So you don't want any big gaps between your nail and the form, because it's just gonna make it harder to get an even surface. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and use our base bond to extend the nail, and it's gonna look sloppy in the beginning. But what we're gonna end up doing is doing probably 3 or 4 coats to build a nice extension. We're gonna start on the actual natural nail and pull that powder all the way through. So you don't wanna build just on the edge and use the, for example, you don't wanna take the base bond and put it just like here and swipe it right along the edge, because it's not going to really have anything to hold on to. You want to start down here and create a connection between your natural nail and the extension that you're making. So it's really important for it to be strong and have hold so that it's not going to break off. All right, so just make sure that that nail form is nice and tight against your natural nail, okay? So let's open up this clear dip and go ahead and put a coat of this. I'm actually going to sprinkle this dip powder over top because I don't want to try and dip my finger in here with the with the nail form, because it's gonna get too messy. This nail form is sticky on the back side as well, so if I did dip it in there, it's gonna pick up powder on all that back end, and I don't want to deal with that. So go ahead and tap it off. Okay, so you can see we've built kind of an extension here that goes up and onto. Now don't worry about what it looks like at this point, okay? We're gonna even all of this out. And I would suggest after you put down this first layer, attaching it from here, that you start all the way from the bottom and do clear powder all the way. This is gonna kind of give it a little bit more of an even appearance. Otherwise, you're gonna keep building this up and up and up, and it's gonna get really high here, and it'll stay low on this end, and you don't want that. So it'll be low here and high here. So we're gonna go ahead, and now that we've built kind of a base for it, we're gonna go ahead and put our dip powder all the way across and down onto, let me give that a second, we'll just give it a little dust. Okay, so you can see we're kind of starting to build just from scratch. Okay, so we're gonna go all the way. And you can do it from a 3/4 length, you can do it all the way down. I don't think it would really make too much of a big difference, and I'm just like lopping this clear dip powder on here however I can get it on. I want to just make sure that I cover all the powder so that it's getting covered. Cover all of the base with powder. Sorry, I can't talk apparently. Just to make sure that it's getting a nice coat, okay? Okay, and like I said, it's gonna look like a disaster for a little bit, so just try not to worry about that. Okay, we're building something here. We got to set a foundation. Okay, so we've got the excess off. Okay, so now that I've built a nice strong foundation, starting here at the edge and connecting it, and then all the way through, I'm gonna go ahead and start just building onto the free edge that I've created here. So now we're gonna go just here. And again, this is gonna look like a mess until we get it all, sorry, my finger is shaking, till we get it all set up the way that we want it, okay? And we're gonna solidify this and file it into the shape that we want once we've got it all set up, okay? But right now we're just trying to build. So don't worry about exactly what it looks like at this point, because it's gonna change once we get it all set in there. Okay, so you can see that this portion that we're building here is starting to get thicker. It's starting to catch up to where my natural nail is, okay? All right, so here we go again. Make sure we're getting a good coat of the base and including this free edge here because we want it to be connected. Okay, it's really important that it's all connected together, because if it's not gonna stay. It'll end up breaking pretty easily. Okay, and you want to give it a minute. Make sure you let that powder sink in. I'm using a very soft brush, okay? I'm not using a real hard, even this is real soft. I'm just doing a really light, just to get that excess off, mostly because I don't want it to gunk up my base brush. That's really what we're worried about as far as that goes. Okay, so don't want too much because I don't really want it to go everywhere, although we can fix all of that later. We're just gonna build onto this edge here, okay? So we're painting on that base bond and then covering it with our clear dip powder. And you're just gonna keep doing this until it looks like it's even and like it's gonna be strong enough to support, okay? And again, this is probably not the ideal way to build extensions on all of your nails. However, If you break a nail or chip a nail or a piece comes off a little corner, this is a good way to rebuild that so that you can let it grow out and not have to cut back all your nails, which, like, my nails are really short right now because that's exactly what happened. I broke it, but I decided I wanted to cut them all back and not put the extensions on, so I didn't. Okay, so like this is looking pretty good. So we'll just give it a little brush here and see how we're feeling. Now, we're gonna solidify this and we're gonna file it. So keep in mind that you wanna build it up enough so that you have room to file down. If you only put a couple coats, it's not gonna be thick enough, and once you file, it's not gonna be strong enough. So always, once you feel like it's done, do a couple more coats, just so that you make sure that you've got more than enough strength, okay? More is better than less, because we can always file it and buff it and shape it. But once we start to do it, we don't want to make it so thin that it's gonna break. We want it to be strong enough to support the weight. Okay, so you can see how that has created now almost not a completely smooth surface, but an even one from all the way from the bottom. And of course, I had a couple layers of clear powder already on my nail because I put that under all of my nails so I can file it off. But we're looking now, we've got more of a straight kind of thickness from the natural nail all the way up to this free edge that we've created, okay? So since that is looking good, we're gonna go ahead and grab our Solidify, okay, number 3. And we're gonna solidify this. I would not take it off of the form until the Solidify is on and had a minute to dry, because the Solidify is what really makes it hard. If you take the form off before, yes, the glue is hard, but it could easily break apart. So we're gonna give that a minute here. Here's some boats going by. All right, so now that Solidify is on there and hard, I'm gonna just go ahead and start filing out my shape. I'm just kind of getting it flat. You can use a buffing block to do this as well. And then in just a minute, we're gonna take it off the form and I'll file it into its final shape. Okay, so I'm just trying to get a flat, smooth surface. You could use an electric file for this if you really wanted to. We're just looking for shape right now, okay? So you wanna look down the barrel and make sure that it's even on both sides. One side's not up higher than the other. Looks like we did an okay job. And again, we're gonna take this off and file at it some more. But right now I just kind of am getting a basic shape, and also I'm kind of testing it. You know, I want to make sure that it's gonna hold once I take this form off. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go ahead and grab something to push each side of this form, okay, so that it releases from where the dip powder is. And we'll just give it a pinch and pull it off. Okay, well, it's just stuck to my skin now. Okay, so now we have this crazy looking piece of hardened dip powder, right? I look like an ice queen, Elsa or something, huh? All these. So you can grab some cuticle nippers and like clip these edges off. Let's give that a try so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so you can just kind of clip these little pieces off with the cuticle nippers. See? Or we can file it. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip a little bit more off here, just so we can get it even. And when you're shaping nails, you wanna make sure that it stays even with the sidewall. Okay, so we're not creating any kind of weird looking shape. Okay, now don't push too hard. We haven't got our second solidify on here yet, so we're just gonna shape this up. See if I can do this in the camera. I apologize, but it's back, I'm upside down. Well, for me, I would do it the other way normally because I'm right-handed. Sorry, I'm trying to get it in the right spot. It's kind of moving around. Okay, so again, I'm lining up the file with the sidewall so that I'm making that bottom, because that is how your natural nail would grow. Okay, so then we can file this down because I do not need a nail this long. That is for dang sure. We can even, let's try some clippers. I kind of just lopped it on there. I really didn't need to make it that long because I'm definitely not gonna keep it that long. Okay, so just we're gonna go a little bit at a time. It's probably not quite as bendable as your natural nail would be, so just, you know, be careful. And I can feel that it's thick and it's a little bit, I mean, it's not soft, but I can feel that it is a little bit soft. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead now and file it into the shape that I'm looking for. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. And something you can do with acrylic and you want to be careful of is when you put the form on, you want to make sure that there's a nice curve to it. So it's got to fit tight under your nail, but you do want there to be a curve so that you end up getting this curve that is similar to your natural nail. Always want to look at it from different angles, so you're making sure you get it straight. Okay, this is pretty thick, so I'm just going to go ahead and, okay, so I'm angling down, trying to take some of the thickness off the edge of this, okay, because it's not shaped like a regular nail is. And even you'll notice if you've ever had acrylic or gel nails done, they're always gonna make the highest point be here, which is the stress area of your nail, and then it's gonna go down from there. When you're doing this with this dip powder, it's really, I mean, it would be really difficult to do that from the get-go. I mean, I suppose you could if you tried to really even it out exactly at the spot, but because it's hard to get precise just because of what you're working with, I honestly, like, I wouldn't worry too much about it, and I would just do it this way. So you're kind of just evening out the whole nail now, okay, and making it look as much like your natural nail would as possible, okay? So we're coming down towards, because we want to thin out this edge, this free edge, so that, you know, so that it's not too thick, because if it's really thick at the edge, it gets irritating to be able to pick stuff up and things like that. Okay, so just this way so I can get it straight. Tapered square here. Okay. All right. Okay, so now that we have it all filed, you could go ahead and solidify this again But I'm actually just gonna go ahead and dip it into, from the new sub bag for May. I had catch flights, not feelings on that finger before I took it off. So, all right. So if you look underneath here, you can see that I've got my natural nail and then a little bit of an extension on there. So if this nail had broken, this is what I would use to kind of fix it, get that hardness back, and keep the shape while my nail grows out, so I don't have to cut them all down. Pretty cool. All right, comment below if you have any questions or need clarification on anything. If you've tried this and it's worked, please let me know. If you have ideas for other upcoming videos you want, don't hesitate to ask down in the comments. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when all upcoming content is. I'm gonna show you how I did this mani. That's coming up on an upcoming video. I will get this edited and out to you as soon as possible, and we'll see you next time on the Mani Maniac.